We are back from Griffith Field at the Ripken Experience in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Once again, this is Joe Foreman on the call for CSI Sportsnet. The temperature dropping very quickly here at the complex, and I will only be updating the score tonight for our second game between the College of Staten Island and Southern New Hampshire University. Also, due to issues with our hotspot, I am not going to be able to control our stream remotely. The stream is being housed separately from me. I'm right behind home plate, the laptop and camera a bit further back. So I am going to be providing you voice for the rest of the evening, and hopefully we can stay online from start to finish. If the stream does go offline again, that is likely it for the night. So keep in mind that if you do lose the live stream, that is because we have once again run out of data, and we are going to have to address that separately from this evening, and will not be able to do so again during the game tonight. The Dolphins are the home team here in Game 2. They were the road team in Game 1. In our first game of the day, the Penmen took the victory 4-1. The Penmen jumped out to a 2-0 lead in that game. The Dolphins cut that lead in half. Both teams throughout the game threatened for more, but the starting pitchers on both sides pitched pretty well. Gerard Santos got through 5 2/3. Jake Reisdorf got through 6 2/3. And Michael First will be the starter for the Dolphins here in Game 2. He delivers ball 1, and we are underway. Giancarlos Colon once again leading off for the Penmen, followed by Nader Wachter, Jorge Burgos, Jackson Marshall, Jake Reisdorf, Shane McNamara, Ruben Fernandez, Kyle Levine, Jacob Albert, and pitching will be Frankie DeMauro. Count now 2-1 on Cologne. Pitch from first. A breaking ball swung on and missed for strike 2. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. And that's hit sharply on the ground to short, handled by Satera. Throw across the diamond in time. And there's one away. Very quickly, the lineup for the Dolphins on the infield. From first to third, Vigliotti, Leno, Satera, Weigel. Left to right in the outfield, Harrington, Palomini, Riley. Behind the plate is Michael Kehoe, and once again on the mound is Michael First. At the plate now for the Penmen, Nader Wachter, and he fouls that one back. Wachter, in the early game, was 0 for 4 at the plate, stranded a couple of men on base, drew a walk, and struck out. And that one skips to the backstop off the glove of Kehoe. Count 1-1 strike on the Penmen center fielder. And First misses inside. So Michael First did pitch for the Dolphins last season. I'm not sure we saw him in the latter half of the year, if I recall. We did see him early in the year, if I remember correctly. He appeared in 10 games. Let's take a look at the dates of those appearances. He did pitch all season. There was a gap of about 3 weeks where he appeared just twice. And a lot of the time, my perception is skewed by which games were home games and which games I covered. Jorge Burgos will be the batter. Burgos in Game 1 officially 0 for 2 with a run batted in, walked and struck out. There's a swing and a miss for strike two. So Cologne grounded out to short to open the inning. Wachter flew out to left. And now Burgos in a two-strike hole, pops one up. And Vigliotti makes the catch and foul ground to retire the side. It's a 1-2-3 first inning for Michael First. Dolphins come to bat with no score. And we are back from Griffith Field in Myrtle Beach, where Chris Palomini steps into the box to lead things off for the Dolphins in the home half of inning number one. No score between the Dolphins and Penmen here in Game 2 of today's doubleheader. And the first pitch of the game from Frankie DeMauro is hit over to short. And Palomini is retired. One pitch, one out here in the bottom half of the first inning. Batting order for the Dolphins. Palomini, the leadoff hitter, followed by John Harrington, A.J. Vigliotti, Vincent Weigel, T.J. Leno, Anthony Cetera, Jack Kehoe, Michael Kehoe, Christopher Riley, and Michael First. For Harrington, this is his first at-bat as a Dolphin. He's behind 0-1. And he looks at that pitch low. Comes the 1-1. And the breaking ball finds the outside corner for a called strike two. DeMauro working quickly. Misses away with the breaking ball, 2-2. And the fastball misses high. 3 balls and 2 strikes now. And as we are continually plagued by internet outages, the inning comes to a close with a fly ball to left. Cetera just got under it and is retired as the Dolphins strand the bases loaded. We are through one from Griffith Field. No score between the Dolphins and Penmen. Jackson Marshall to lead things off here in the road second inning for the Penmen. After a strong first inning and a long break, Michael First back to the mound for the Dolphins. CSI very nearly scored their first runs of this game, but a pickoff prevented them from ultimately scoring in the inning, as they did load the bases but stranded 3 runners on. Anthony Cetera drove one to left but got just a bit too much of it. And the Dolphins returned aside in the first as Marshall takes ball 1. Marshall had one of the big hits in game 1 for the Penmen, an RBI double. He was 1 for 4 with that run batted in. The 2-0 pitch swung on and missed, and Marshall may have been taking his home run cut there. Two and one the count now. Pitch on its way from first. And that's hit sharply on the ground to short. Knocked down by Cetera, and his throw's right on the money for out number 1. Jake Reisdorf will be the batter. Reisdorf earned the win in game 1. Also had a decent game at the plate as well. He slices that one foul. Reisdorf was just 1 for 4 with a run scored, but he was a pest up there. And he looks at the 0-1 for a knee-high strike on the inside corner. 0-2 the count now. That's fouled away. Count remains 0-2. First delivers. Fouled away again. First got through inning number 1 pretty quickly. And got the first out pretty quickly here in the second. Reisdorf has fouled off a couple now. And that's grounded to short. Another chance for Cetera. And the throw is high. The tag was applied, but the ball came out. And I'm not sure that tag was in time anyway. So Cetera made the last couple look easy, and that time he just airmailed the throw. It was a good job by Vigliotti just to get a glove on it. If that gets over, I don't know if it had enough on it to make it over that fence, but it was definitely a chance. Really comes down to what area that ball was ticketed for. Either way, that one may have hit the batter, and McNamara was hit by the pitch. So moving up to second is Reisdorf, and just like that, the Penmen have 2 on. Ruben Fernandez will come to the plate now. Fernandez in game 1 was 1 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. And he swings and misses here for strike 1. Last season, errors for the Dolphins were definitely an issue. And when they played clean defense, they were a different team because they allowed a lot of unearned runs. And here, Fernandez is hit by the pitch, so he will take first base. And first has now hit 2 straight batters. Last season, the Dolphins allowed exactly 60 unearned runs. That was 1/6 of the runs they allowed. Actually, a bit more than that. So the Dolphins very easily could have been far lower in the ERA department, or I should say far lower in the runs allowed department were it not for the unearned runs. Obviously, ERA accounts for the errors, but 357 runs allowed, 297 of those were earned. And last season, both the Dolphins and their opponents were up over 80 errors. The Dolphins made 84, their opponents 81. I think the big thing for the Dolphins is when in the games those errors came. At the plate here, Kyle Levine. And the 1-1 pitch is chopped foul. First now ahead 1-2, looking for a big third strike here. The inning changes completely if he can get that second out without allowing a run to score. The Penmen once again looking to go in front early as they did in game 1. Count 1-2 as first comes set. Pitch on its way. And that misses high. Tried to get him to chase up the ladder with the fastball, and the count runs even 2-2. Dolphins will concede a run on a ground ball in hopes of turning a double play here. Not surprising. Vigliotti playing right next to the base runner at first, as that's lined into center field for a base hit. One run is in. The ball was briefly bobbled, ensuring that a second run scores, and the throw nearly got away, but it was tracked down by Kehoe halfway up the third base line. It's a 2-run single for Kyle Levine, and the Penmen once again go in front 2-0 early. Jacob Albert will be the batter here. And he takes up and away. Albert in game one was 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. And after a quick first inning, Michael First now being really forced to work hard here in the second. A lot of those balls put in play, a couple of hit batters. Count 1-1 now following the foul ball. Long look in here from First, who comes set ahead of the 1-1. And that ball is smoked right at the right fielder. Riley barely had to move. And there are now 2 gone in the inning. Back to the top of the order now. And Giancarlos Colon will be the batter. Colon 0 for 1 in this game. First looks towards second and delivers a nice breaking ball on the inside corner for a strike. Didn't appear as if Colon liked that call very much. Count 0-1. First delivers. And that swung on and missed. Colon got a piece, but he's quickly behind 0-2. First quickly ahead of Colon 0-2. He's gone with back-to-back breaking balls on the first 2 pitches. The 0-2 on its way now. And that's hit well out to right, but well foul and out of play. So First remains ahead 0-2. First 2 pitches were breaking balls. I do believe that last one was a fastball. Always tougher to tell when the batter makes contact. Here comes another 0-2. And again, he went with the breaking ball. He's kept that pitch on the inner half, almost as if he's trying to front door that pitch. He did get Colon looking for strike 1. The more a hitter sees that pitch, the more hesitant you have to be to go back to it in the same location. It's still 0-2. Pitch on its way, and that breaking ball dips down and in. First has paid extra close attention to second base. We've seen that throughout this at bat. Be surprising if the Penmen tried to run with 2 outs. Another 0-2 is swung on and missed for strike 3. Got him with the high fastball. And that will do it for the Penmen in the second. But not before they score twice. Once again, the Dolphins trail 2-0. When we come back, CSI comes to the plate in the bottom half of the second. Jack Kehoe will lead things off for the Dolphins here in the home second inning. Kehoe has his season off to a red-hot start. In the game earlier today, Kehoe was 3 for 4 with a run scored. Right now, he is the Dolphins' leading hitter across just a couple of games. He's quickly behind 0-2 here. And he fights that one off foul. Another 0-2. Fouled straight back again. And most importantly, I did not flinch. That is rule number 1 of being behind the plate working a game with me. You cannot flinch on the foul ball straight back, and that one came right at me. Another 0-2 is looked at for ball 1. Again, Kehoe fouls that one off. So DeMauro working a lot more quickly than first, due in part to the base runners first had to deal with in the last inning, but DeMauro has worked at quite the pace early in this game. Comes the 1-2, and the breaking ball is a good one in there for a called strike 3. A big hook from DeMauro. And Kehoe goes down looking. Batter now will be Michael Kehoe. Kehoe on the young season, 0 for 3. Got the start in the first game yesterday against the Owls. Did not start game 1 today. He's behind 0-1 here. Pitch on its way. And he looks at a called strike 2. Looks like DeMauro right now really settling into a rhythm out there on the mound. That misses down and away. Good 0-2 waste pitch. Dolphins put the pressure on in that first inning. Did not score. And now trailed by a couple. And DeMauro really needed an inning like this one if he can get Kehoe here. A couple of quick outs. Try and get back on track in terms of pitch count. Count remains 0-2. And that's chopped on the infield. Backhanded it short. Throw across the diamond just in time. Nicely done. Over at short there by Cologne. And Kehoe is retired for out number 2. That will bring up Chris Riley. Riley coming to the plate for the first time this season, sporting a new number, wore 25 last year, now wearing 4, and he bunts one up the first base line, foul ball. Riley trying to bunt for a hit there. Oh, and 1 the count on the Dolphins' right fielder. Pitch on its way. That's it on the ground to short. Another chance for Cologne. on the move. The throw is in time. Two nice plays there by Giancarlos Colon on the infield. And the Dolphins go down 1-2-3 in the second inning. We are through 2 at Griffith Field in Myrtle Beach. The Penmen lead the Dolphins 2-0. Nader Wachter will lead off for the Penmen here in the road third inning. Their lead over the Dolphins remains 2-0 after the Dolphins went down 1-2-3 in their half of the second inning. First pitch of the third by Michael First misses outside for ball 1. Wachter is 0 for 1 in this game. And he hits that one well out to center. Ranging back toward the wall and making the basket catch was Palomini. How did he track that ball into his glove? What a play. Off the bat, that ball was hit a mile high. Tough to tell just how much of it Wachter got. Palomini got turned around in center and was able to stay with it and make the basket catch. We've said it time and time again through his year plus as a Dolphin. Palomini plays a tremendous defensive center field, and you can add that play to the list. First pitch to Jorge Burgos in for a called strike 1. Burgos 0 for 1 in this game. The 0-1 on its way, and that's in for a called strike 2. Well, you can see, and it's not really surprising, but there is a very distinct difference in pace for first without men on base versus with men on. Obviously, you're going to see a difference for pitchers when they have to acknowledge base runners, but first works very quickly with the bases empty. And that fastball's in for a called strike 3. Burgos goes down looking, and just like that, there are 2 away. Jackson Marshall will be the batter. Marshall also 0 for 1. None of the top 5 in the Penmen batting order have reached in this game, despite the fact that they've scored 2 runs. Colon and Wachter 0 for 2. Burgos, Marshall, Reisdorf all 0 for 1. Now the Dolphins did have the throwing error earlier, and just as I mentioned, the 0-for, it's broken up by Marshall. He's now 1 for 2 with a hard hit line drive single into left field. And Jake Reisdorf will be the batter. And it was indeed Reisdorf who reached on the error earlier, did come around to score. Only one of the 2 runs allowed by first was earned as a result of that error. Reisdorf's run, the unearned run. And the count is now 0-1 on the Penmen designated hitter. The 0-1 pitch, swung on and missed. And quickly Reisdorf is in a 2-strike hole. First hoping for a quick inning here after a tough second. And that's fouled away. The count remains 0-2 on Reisdorf. Behind him, Shane McNamara. Comes the 0-2. And again, it's fouled away. Runner on first, Marshall. Reached on a 2-out single. Reisdorf continuing to battle here behind 0-2. And that sails up and away. Runner going and nobody covering. And you could see it during that at-bat. first was paying Marshall almost no attention, and the Dolphins infield didn't respect his ability to run either. And he took off basically after that pitch was at the plate. Good base running there to take an extra base. We'll see if it pays off as that misses outside. And the count is now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Reisdorf. Dolphins hoping to keep this a 2-run game. The Penmen now all of a sudden can potentially steal a run with 2 outs. And now the count is full on Reisdorf, 3-2. And that's after first got ahead of him, no balls and 2 strikes. Long look in here from first ahead of the 3-2. He comes set. Payoff pitch, hit in the air, out to left field, high in the air up into the lights, and tracking it to make the catch was Harrington to retire the side. So a 2-out single and a stolen base sees the Penmen strand a runner in scoring position. We head to the home half of inning number 3. Southern New Hampshire over Staten Island, 2-0. Chris Palomini will lead off for the Dolphins in the home 3rd inning. Staten Island trailing Southern New Hampshire University 2-0. Dolphins, after leading in their first game of the season against the Owls yesterday, have trailed in each of the 2 games of this doubleheader early on today. Just 1 run for the Dolphins in game 1. However, the CSI pitching did its job, allowing just 4 runs. As Palomini quickly gets ahead here, 3-0. Palomini 0 for 1. Did make that remarkable play in center, and here he draws a 4-pitch walk. So Frankie DeMauro misses with 4 straight to put Palomini on, and obviously, given his base-stealing pedigree, that's not the man that you want to issue a free pass to lead off an inning. Harrington will look toward the third base coaching box for instruction from Mike Morrow. More often than not in these spots, the Dolphins have bunted. And they'll check on Palomini. Harrington 1 for 1, reached on a base hit. His first at bat as a Dolphin was then picked off of first base. And the Dolphins are going to bunt here. They have a play at second. And they get 1, but they cannot turn 2. Well, not a good bunt there by Harrington. Right back to the pitcher. And Palomini had no chance to beat out that throw to second. That will bring up A.J. Vigliotti. Vigliotti walked his first time up. And now the same cat and mouse game resumes over at first base. And between the runner and the pitcher, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of looks exchanged as Harrington takes his lead off first. Vigliotti behind 0-1. And Vigliotti hits one a mile high. He knows he just missed it. That's the second time today that AJ felt like he missed one that he should have connected with. And there are now 2 gone in the inning. Vincent Weigel will be the batter here. 2 outs now in the home 3rd inning. And we'll see if perhaps the Dolphins look to turn Harrington loose over at first base. This team really needs an offensive spark right now. And he's picked off. Great pickoff move by Frankie DeMauro. And for the 3rd time in as many games, a Dolphin has been picked off of first base. And with that, the side is retired in the third inning. No runs across for the Dolphins, and we are through 3 from Griffith Field. Penmen over Dolphins 2-0. Shane McNamara will lead things off for the Penmen here in the fourth inning. Southern New Hampshire leads Staten Island 2-0. And the pitching for the Penmen so far today has been phenomenal. They've allowed just the 1 run in 12 innings of work now. Dolphins pitching has also been pretty good. But there have been some miscues once again. An error allowed an extra run to score earlier in this game. Count on McNamara now even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Comes the 1-1. And that's ripped through the right side for a base hit. And McNamara's on to lead off the fourth inning with a single. That will bring up Ruben Fernandez. Fernandez, without an official plate appearance in this game, was hit by a pitch his first time up. And the Dolphins, at least Weigel over at third, has his toes on the green of that turf. And now Mike Morrow emerges from the Dolphins dugout, had a quick word with the home plate umpire, and it's time for another umpire conference. I'm curious to see what the request was from Coach Morrow in this spot. Not really sure. No indication given. So McNamara stays at first. Fernandez the batter. And they'll check on him again. Pitch to Fernandez on its way, and that's fouled straight back. Once again, did not flinch. Behind Fernandez, Kyle Levine, who had an RBI hit in the first inning, waits on deck. Infield umpire jogging back into position here ahead of the 0-1. And again, they check on McNamara. The Dolphins now hyper aware of the Penmen base runners, making sure not to allow any free bases. I think after what happened with Marshall on the bases, that's drawn their attention, and as that pitch got away from Kehoe, a wild pitch in the dirt, the runner takes second anyway. So all of that attention paid, and the extra base is gained regardless. And that's the impact of having base runners command attention. Sometimes it throws the pitcher off and causes a miss like that one. Still nobody out in the inning, 1-1 the count, and it's now 2-1. Dolphins would really like Michael First to keep this deficit right where it is if he can. But holding that runner at second and getting an out here is of paramount importance. And that won't do it. It's now 3-1. The only reprieve here is that with first base open, a walk would set the force up all around, but that's not on the mind of First with nobody out. Count now 3-1. As First comes set. There's a good pitch. Swung on and missed there. Might have gotten Fernandez to chase ball 4 there. The bottom dropped out of that one at the last moment. Even from here, that looked like a fastball coming in, and I don't believe it was. Count now full, 3-2. First would love a strikeout here. Fernandez just trying to get on any way he can. Comes the payoff pitch, and it's chopped toward the left side. Cetera knocks it down. It gets away from him, but not far enough for McNamara to advance. Base hit, as that was deep in the hole. And Fernandez is on for the second time. And now Kyle Levine will be the batter. Levine came up in the first inning, drove in a couple of runs with a base hit. Now a chance to drive in another here. How about the opportunities for Levine as he's going to show bunt, and Kehoe scoops it up in foul ground. But Levine in game 1 did not get in the lineup. Now here in game 2, he's come up with multiple men on base 2 separate times. He was asked to bunt on that first pitch. We'll see if the bunt is still on here on 0-1. No bunt shown on 0-1, and the breaking ball is taken for a strike. So Levine will surely be swinging now on 0-2. First, once again, looking for a big punch out. He has 2 in his 3 innings plus. The 0-2 pitch, just missed. Count 1-2 now on the Penmen catcher. First comes set, checks towards second and delivers. And that's hit well out to right center field. It's down for a base hit. It's cut off in the gap, and holding at first is Levine. Into scores McNamara, and it's now 3-0 in favor of the Penmen. Kyle Levine now with 3 runs batted in the first 4 innings. And that has accounted for all 3 Southern New Hampshire runs. Jacob Albert will be the batter now. Taking a look out toward the bullpen and left. I don't see any movement. This inning at the very least belongs to Michael First. And Albert looks at a strike at the knees, 0-1. Albert 0 for 1 in this game. Dolphins have Weigel in a bit at third. The middle infielder's back at double play depth. And they'll check on Levine at first. Comes the 0-1. And that misses low. One ball and 1 strike the count on the Southern New Hampshire left fielder. And that one is crushed foul. Just a bit out in front of that one was Albert. He really turned on it, but it ends up well foul, and he's now behind 1-2. First, once again in a position to pick up a big strikeout. He has not been able to put the bottom third of this order away, and he won't put Albert away there. That one missed off the inside corner. The count now even at 2-2. The pitch count really beginning to run up on First here as well. He's up over 70 now. Here comes the 2-2. And that's chopped foul. Do it again here, 2-2. Runners on the corner, still nobody out. We've seen multiple innings like this in the game. The home first, the road second, and now the road fourth. And there's a big strikeout for first as Albert goes down swinging. One away now, and it's back to the top of the order with Giancarlos Colon. So Colon comes to the plate looking for his first base hit of the game. He's 0 for 2. In fact, the top 3 hitters in the Southern New Hampshire lineup in this game are a combined 0 for 6, yet they still lead 3-0. And you'll certainly take that kind of production from the bottom 2/3 of the order as that throw got away. The pickoff ends up along the bullpen fence. And that's going to be a scorer's decision. We'll have to go back and look at the replay. Not sure how much you can see through the fence. And it's going to be an error on first. The errors on the Dolphins, for the most part this year, have been about as costly as they can get. As this one's bunted back toward first, and he makes a great throw there. And there's a very real chance now that the run that came in on that errant pickoff could end up being unearned. We'll see what happens here with Nader Wachter at the plate. Two gone now, 2 runs in, and make it 3. As Wachter rips one into left field for a base hit. The Penmen now lead at 5-0. And you get the feeling that was just an out. The Dolphins really needed to get in that spot to keep this game a 4-run game and not allow the middle third of this lineup a chance with men on base. Instead, Jorge Burgos is the batter, and he takes outside for ball 1. Comes the 1-0. That one's chased way downstairs. Count even at 1. First quickly checks over toward the bag at first. And that one swung on and missed as well for strike 2. First has done a good job keeping these hitters off balance in this game. That last swing by Wachter, about as good a cut as we've seen all game. That ball was scorched. Runner going. Good pitch to throw on for Kehoe, but the throw doesn't get there in time. And it doesn't matter because it was called strike 3. Letter high strike, and that will do it for the road 4th inning, but not before 3 runs come home for the Penmen. They now lead the Dolphins 5-0. Do apologize for my absence for the last half inning. Had to escape the cold weather for just a few minutes and head inside, but we are back here for the road fifth inning, top half of inning number 5. The score remains the same as when I departed. The Penmen lead the Dolphins 5-0. CSI went down 1-2-3 in the home fourth. Ryan Fiore, the new pitcher for the Dolphins, and Fiore got quite a bit of work last year. Fiore appeared in 9 games, many of those coming during the final few weeks of the season. He did not pitch between March 22nd and April 7th, and then from the 7th through the end of the month, appeared in 5 games. That one's popped up along the first base line, and Kehoe makes the catch. 1 away. That will bring up Jake Reisdorf. Reisdorf 0 for 2 at the plate in this game. And he takes a knee-high strike. There's the 0-1. That misses outside. Penmen in this game with 5 runs on 6 hits. The Dolphins with just 2 hits in this game and a couple of errors. Final line on Michael first. 4 innings pitched, 5 hits. Or I should say 5 runs, 6 hits. Of the 5 runs, 4 were earned. He struck out 4. Count now 3-1 on Reisdorf. And he lost the bat. One of the spectators exclaimed catcher's interference so loudly that I thought it was the umpire. But instead they'll get some pine tar for that bat, though I don't know if they use that on the aluminum bat handles. Probably not. Count now 3-2. Payoff pitch coming. And that's it on the ground to short. Sotera has it. His throw a bit offline, but Vigliotti applies the tag. And there are 2 away. Shane McNamara will be the batter now. McNamara officially 1 for 1. Was hit by a pitch. Recorded a base hit, and he scored both times he's reached. He's ahead 1-0 here. That's fouled back. Count 1-1. That's taken outside. Two and one now on the Penmen right fielder. And that's it pretty well out to the left field corner, but he got under it a bit. And the catch is made just inside the line by Harrington. So the Penmen go down 1-2-3 here in the fifth. They still lead the Dolphins 5-0. Jack Kehoe will lead things off for the Dolphins in the home fifth inning. CSI still trailing 5-0. And Kehoe looks at a breaking ball for a strike. Frankie DeMauro still in there for the Penmen. He's pitched really well, has not allowed a run. Just 2 hits, as I mentioned in the previous half inning. And he has had to work through some adversity, specifically back in the first inning. And Kehoe hits one a mile high out toward shallow right center. And ranging to his left to make the catch is Wachter for out number 1. Michael Kehoe will be the batter here. Kehoe 0 for 1 at the plate, looks at ball 1. 2 seasons ago, Kehoe really had a breakout year for the Dolphins that had a lot of people very excited for what last year would bring, and he just couldn't match the offensive numbers that we saw from him 2 years ago. However, his defense, specifically in the outfield, was very strong. However, he spent a lot of time in center field, and obviously Chris Palomini's playing center field, and he's now become a much more regular catcher. And I think I'd argue the outfield defensively was the stronger defensive position for him. And here he goes down swinging. 2 away now in the home fifth. And Chris Riley will be the batter. Riley 0 for 1 at the plate in this game as well. 2 Dolphins hits belong to John Harrington and Vincent Weigel. Harrington was ultimately erased on a pickoff. At the plate here, Riley had 1-0, make it 2-0 now. And that pitch is in for a called strike. Comes the 2-0. That's hit sharply on the ground to short. Fielded there. And the throw is over with plenty of time to retire the side. Dolphins go down 1-2-3 in the fifth. They are down to their final 6 outs. The Penmen still lead it 5-0. Ruben Fernandez will lead off for the Penmen here in the road 6th. Their lead is 5 runs over the College of Staten Island. First pitch of the inning from Ryan Fiore is in for a strike. Fiore came in to pitch a scoreless 5th, remains on for the 6th as that's bunted foul. And Fernandez is quickly behind in the count 0-2. To the count, or I should say 0-2. The scoreboard reads 1-2 as that's fouled away. Well, I say it all the time when we cover games on Staten Island. Every time that I look out into the outfield and try and pull information off the scoreboard, usually the count, more often than not I get burned. Whenever I keep the count in the booth, usually it's Nick and I keeping the count, though it won't be the case this year with our scoreboard device. Either way, need to rely on yourself. Maybe not today, as I'm a bit delirious in the cold weather, but most days, Nick and I are pretty reliable. Be sure to catch Nick calling CSI softball tomorrow. I might make a cameo. You never know. That pitch in for a called strike. Kyle Levine at the plate, already 2 for 2 in the game with 3 runs batted in. Things have gone pretty well for him. As that pitch misses low, count even at 1. Softball gets underway in South Orange Village, New Jersey tomorrow. They are playing at the home of Seton Hall softball. They are taking on Chestnut Hill College as that's hit well out to center. But again, the batter just getting under the ball a bit as Palomini was there to make the catch. And there are 2 gone now. But CSI softball opens their season tomorrow against Chestnut Hill College. Nick Bavona will be on the call solo tomorrow. Our game's here at the exact same time, so I probably won't be able to get on with him unless I do it in between games. But I might phone in, as that's bunted right back to the mound. Fiore handles it, and he throws out Jacob Albert to retire the side. Penn men go down quickly, 1-2-3 in the 6th. The Dolphins looking to battle their way back into this one. They trail 5-0. Chris Palomini will lead off for the Dolphins in the home 6th inning as he takes down and away for ball 1. Palomini 0 for 1 at the plate in this game. Dolphins still stuck on 2 hits here. And Palomini takes downstairs for ball 2. He has drawn a walk in this game, so Palomini has reached base. 2-0. Hit well. Center field. Headed toward the fence, and it lands at the base of the 391 mark in straightaway center. Palomini will coast into second with a stand-up double, and the Dolphins have the leadoff man in scoring position. That will bring up John Harrington. Harrington has one of the now 3 Dolphins hits in this game. That last swing by Palomini, as good a swing as any Dolphin has had against Amaro since very early in this game. Harrington takes low. He's ahead 1-0. Behind him, A.J. Vigliotti waits on deck. Comes the 1-0. And that's on the outside corner for a strike. One and one the count now on Harrington. And that's off the outside corner, 2-1. Demaro has not been behind too many hitters. He's fallen behind 2 separate hitters in this inning. And Harrington hits one the other way, foul ground, out of play. Count now even at 2-2. Two balls and 2 strikes the count on the Dolphins' left fielder. Palomini, the runner on second, and that's chopped on the infield right back to the mound. Going to first with it was Demaro. And moving up to third is Palomini. There's one away in the inning. So Mike Cunningham will come to the plate, batting in place of A.J. Vigliotti. This is Cunningham's first at bat as a Dolphin. And Cunningham offers at the first pitch and sends it foul. What an effort there. Well, if there's anybody who had a chance, it was first baseman Jackson Marshall. He stands 6'8", launched himself up over the bullpen fence and reached for that ball. That ball is a foot or two closer. He may have had a shot. But he's one of only a few players out there who could make that one close. Comes the 0-1. And Cunningham takes strike 2. So Cunningham is very quickly in a 2-strike hole. Palomini, the runner at third, just 1 out in the inning. And Cunningham whiffs at the breaking ball for strike 3. Vincent Weigel coming to the plate now. Will hit for himself here. And there are now 2 away in the inning. And Weigel takes a strike. Comes the 0-1. And that gets away. Here comes Palomini. And he's in with the first Dolphins run. CSI on the board. It's now 5-1 following that wild pitch. Dolphins have 4 outs to play with here. Batting in the bottom half of the 6th. As Weigel swings and misses for strike 2. The Dolphins scored a single run in the first game, have scored just once again here in game 2. They scored 4 against Southern Connecticut State yesterday. And outside of one really bad inning yesterday, the pitching for the Dolphins has been pretty good. Here comes the 2-2. And Weigel goes down swinging. So the Dolphins settle for 1 here in the 6th. And we head to the 7th with the Penmen looking for some insurance. 7th inning from Griffith Field in Myrtle Beach. The Dolphins now trail 5-1. CSI scratched across a run in the bottom half of the 6th. Chris Palomini, leadoff double, got things started. He ultimately came around to score on a wild pitch. As that one's hit a mile high, foul ground. And Kehoe could not make the play in front of the Penmen dugout. Count now 0-2. Ryan Fiore back out to the mound for the Dolphins here in the 7th. So at the very least, the Dolphins did not have to spend much pitching today. And that's going to bode well for them entering the games tomorrow. The count remains 0-2 on Giancarlos Colon. And that's on the outside corner, or thereabouts, for a called strike 3. Colon didn't like it, and he's a strikeout victim for out number 1. Nader Wachter will be the batter here. Wachter is 1 for 3 in the game. And initially I thought it hit him. It did not. Wachter just able to get out of the way. Comes the 1-0. That's in at the knees for a called strike. Count 2-1 here. Long look in from Fiore. And Wachter offered it ball 3 right there. Count 2-2 now. And Fiore misses down and in. Comes to 2-2. That's sliced foul. Make that 3-2. The scoreboard got me again. And I knew it was 3-2. And that is ball 4. Jorge Burgos, the batter now. Wachter, the runner over at first, 1 away. And that's hit to the left side. Weigel charging, throws high, and everybody's safe. Or did they call him out? And they're going to say no turn. So the Dolphins weren't petitioning for an out call. They were petitioning that the runner took a turn for second, but he did not. Weigel is charged with the throwing error. Kehoe will have a conversation here with Fiore, and whether or not it proves consequential, the Dolphins continue to be plagued by miscues on the infield. I mentioned it earlier, the 60 unearned runs that were scored last year. More than 1/6 of the total runs the Dolphins allowed. And did he get enough of it? I don't think so. Got it on his hands just enough. And Marshall flies out to left center. That ball was hit so deep that both runners were able to advance. And Marshall just missed a 3-run homer. 2 away now here in the road 7th. And Jake Reisdorf will be the batter. Reisdorf 0 for 3 at the plate here in game 2. Pitch on its way, and that's popped up on the infield, and Cetera makes the catch. So the Penmen strand 2 in scoring position, and the Dolphins will come to bat in the home 7th, trailing 5-1. Last chance for the Dolphins here in the home 7th inning. They trail 5-1. They will send 5, 6, and 7 to the plate. TJ Leno will get things started, and he looks at a strike. Comes the 0-1. That's off the outside corner. So Frankie DeMauro returns to the mound looking for a complete game victory here. He's allowed just the 1 run, has allowed only 3 hits, and has a lot of breathing room with 3 outs to go in this game, leading by 4. There is stirring in the Penmen bullpen in case he needs some relief. Count on Leno now even at 2-2 with that last foul ball. Leno was 0 for 1 at the plate in this game, has drawn a walk. Behind Leno, the Dolphins lineup in this game, a combined 0 for 8, as Leno grounds out to second, 1 away. Behind Leno, Cetera, Jack Kehoe, Michael Kehoe, and Chris Riley all 0 for 2 in the game, and Cetera will get a chance to break the 0 for here. Cetera arguably came to the plate in the biggest spot for the Dolphins in this game. That came back in the first inning. Dolphins very well could have had a run home were it not for a pickoff at first base. And Cetera eventually did come to the plate with the bases loaded and 2 outs, but he flew out to left field, ending the inning. And here he strikes out on 3 pitches. A big hook for strike 3. And now the Dolphins are down to their final out with Jack Kehoe coming to the plate. As I mentioned already, Kehoe 0 for 2, getting the start in this game as designated hitter rather than in right field. He had started the first 2 games in right. Kehoe ahead 1-0. Looks at ball 2. Dolphins right back at it tomorrow. A bit of an earlier start, 1 p.m. against Adelphi University. Barring a late comeback here in this game, as that's popped up, and Dolphins will not come from behind tonight. And with that, the Dolphins open the season 0-3. The good news for the Dolphins, they pitched pretty well today. However, the Penmen get a complete game victory from Frankie DeMauro in Game 2, and the Dolphins score just twice across the 2 games. With the win, the Penmen improve to 3-1. Dolphins fall to 0-3. And until tomorrow, this has been Joe Foreman. Thanks for tuning in as I brave the cold once more, beginning at 1 p.m. on Sunday. That is tomorrow against Adelphi University. Once again, the Dolphins will take on another NE10 opponent in a doubleheader. First pitch, Game 1, 1 p.m. right back here on CSI Sportsnet. Tomorrow's game will be streamed exclusively via YouTube, unfortunately running off of a wireless hotspot. Too much data is required to stream to the ECC network. So we stay on YouTube tomorrow. Catch us right back here for that game, Dolphins and Panthers, 1 p.m. start.